Welcome back to another episode of the Business Hour. I'm sitting here with Johann from Business Authorities. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Johann, for purposes, Johann's a serial entrepreneur. He's built some businesses and scaled some of them up to a sizable amount. So, do you want to tell people a little bit about what you've done?
Sure.
To this point?
Where do I start? Oh, I'm going to start at 2004. 2004, PhD, Melbourne University, doing an agricultural science degree. So absolutely nothing to do with what we do right now. Realized that science was never ever going to pay me the lifestyle that I wanted. So I got into, went a bit. The day I found out how much a scientist makes, which I should have done my due diligence before, I flipped out. I couldn't sleep. So I went on Google and typed in "make money online." I don't know if you guys did this, probably 2004. Most of the people used to type that in, and I got onto eBay and I started building this little eBay store. The little eBay store made more money than my supervisors did in 6 months, and it took me 4 hours a week to manage this thing. So at the age of, what was I, like 22 or something, I had more money than I knew what to do with. Now this is bachelor Johann, without kids, without wife, all that stuff. Yeah. So more money. From there, built a couple more eBay stores. Got into affiliate marketing. Do you remember what affiliate marketing is?
Yeah.
So we used to do the marketing for Tic Tac and the Michael Jackson O2 concert, all that sort of kind of stuff. After that, CPA marketing came about, which is cost per acquisition. So we started doing lead generation for the banks. So if you went on Google and typed in Commonwealth Bank credit card application, ads would be up there. You click, and you'd be making money every time people were clicking and filling out applications. So the point of telling you all this is what built my brain into leverage and systems. Every one of these, they don't take time and energy. They're an actual business. So the difference between a business and a self-employed business owner, the business runs itself. Most people forget about that. And have you had experience with that kind of stuff before?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people get stuck in a trap where they end up working, and the business doesn't operate without them. Yeah. So that's interesting. So you started with some online stores. Now, I know you told me the last time we met a story about how you started app development.
Yeah.
So you found the problem because the property manager was
cool. So
delivering. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll get into that story now. So I built a digital agency after the CPA stuff. Digital agency, we ended up doing stuff for private companies, for the government, all this kind of stuff. And then I moved into this building. Now, in Melbourne, when I moved in, they go, "This is the best building in Melbourne, technologically the best building, blah, blah, blah." I said, cool. The day I moved in, I got this piece of paper coming to my door. Picked it up, and it had a couple of words on it. It said, "Your windows are getting clean." Interesting. Put it on the table. The next day, that night actually, it goes, "The elevators are down for maintenance." Okay. Next morning, "Hey, the carpets are getting vacuumed." I'm like, this is crazy. After a month, I've got an inch of paper sitting down on my table. I take it and I go to the building manager. I'm like, "Hey man, what's with this? Why are you sending me all this paper? How much is this costing me?" He goes, "It's $1 per sheet." $1 per sheet. 500 apartments, twice a day. That's $1,000 that these guys were wasting, plus somebody's time walking around the building. Yeah. So I said to him, "Hey, why don't you build an app for the building?" This is 2012. He goes, "I don't know what that is, but you look like a guy who can build an app." Sure. Okay, all right, cool. So we created this concept. We pitched it to the owners court. They loved it, and they go, "Done. We'll have it." And I'm walking out the building. He goes, "Dude, how much money did you just make?" I said, "I did all right." He goes, "Well, I've got this whole portfolio. I've got 30 other buildings. Do you want to partner up?" So, yes, sure. That'll be amazing. So from there, I learned the power of partnerships and joint ventures. And so we built this company, and then 2 years later, I'm like, "Dude, this is amazing." He goes, "I'm retiring." I'm like, "You're retiring? What the hell?" We're just kind of getting started. We're getting off the ground, and we're doing very well. "Why do you want to retire?" He goes, "I've got my farm. I've got a river, and I'm going to go fishing. I'm done." He goes, "You're young. You take it. You go where you want to go." Like, all right, cool. So then I said, "Universe, I don't want to go knocking around the building's doors and trying to sell this stuff. Give me somebody who's going to sell it for me." And then I get a phone call from these guys who go, "We've been trying to copy your systems for the last 2 years. We can't. What's it going to take to partner up with you?" Sweet. I know the power of partnership. Sit down with them, and they go, "We want to build this into a $100 million company." I'm like, well, damn, I couldn't even count how many zeros there were. You know, my mind could not comprehend $100 million. So I go, cool, let's go along for the ride. 4 years later, we turned that into a $20 million a year company. And it was the easiest thing we ever did because every person in the company knew what their roles were and what they had to do. And so everybody was doing what they had to do. It made life easier. So while I'm enjoying this ride, two of my friends unfortunately decided to take their lives. And it really messed with my head because I was like, what, you know, if they called me, if we had a phone call, you could have prevented that, you know, changed the trajectory. So from there, we built another company called Business Authorities, which is a community of business owners helping other business owners, people who are at the coalface, who, you know, are there to share knowledge. So Business Authorities was born. Along this ride, then from Business Authorities came all these joint ventures, things that I could never have imagined. And we built another company called Earthlink Alliance, and from there we specialize in automation, apps, platforms, and business strategy. But that's not the point. The point is the power of the community. So from that community, when COVID hit just now, we decided to say, hey guys, we can do something. What can we do? And so we decided to launch a contact tracing app before the government even thought about it, before Singapore released theirs. In 10 days, we had 30 companies put in their energy and effort and developers and resources, and we had a contact tracing app built. I documented this on LinkedIn. So we're getting ready to launch this thing. The government goes, no, you can't launch it because we're launching ours. And then there was a lot of stuff happened, but at the end of it, they go, we want to collaborate with you. All right, cool, fair enough. So we do that. And then the government released theirs like 8 weeks later. Anyway, COVID's nearly finished. You know, all these things are happening.
Yeah.
But from there, the new joint ventures were formed, new partnerships were formed. All those companies started working together with each other. Yeah. We now created another company. And so the point of telling all this story is you just never know what one meeting, one connection, what one bit of giving will turn into.
Yeah. I want to come back to that, but rewind a little bit. Why did you get into agricultural science? Is that what you were interested in, or is that?
No, I wanted to be a vet. So I wanted to be like, do you remember when we were growing up, Dr. Harry?
Yeah.
I used to sit there and watch Dr. Harry. I wanted to be a vet. And I didn't get high marks to get into Melbourne University. Okay. And so I was like, okay, what's my next choice? And La Trobe University, animal science in La Trobe. And then from there, you could bridge across to Melbourne and go into veterinary science. So I go to do animal science, except I got too drunk the night before when we had to fill out our things. And I screwed up the code. And I wrote in 2212 instead of 2222 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I got into agricultural science, right? And I'm like, oh man, I got into agriculture. So I go to the university. I'm like, can I switch from agricultural science to animal science? They go, you can, but in agriculture you learn about plants and animals, and in animal science you just learn about animals. Being the curry, I was like, 2 for 1, why not?
Yeah.
So I do it, and then turns out that as soon as I see blood, I pass out. So I wouldn't have been a good Dr. Harry, because as soon as I see blood, literally, I'll just fall down. So that's how I got into agricultural science.
Okay, interesting. And then you found an opportunity online with your eBay stores.
Yep.
And then the apps was born out of a need to solve a problem that was being done in a very mundane and old-fashioned,
correct,
outdated sort of process. I'm just identifying that because I think the most successful businesses are born out of a very clear need and something that solves a problem,
yes,
as opposed to trying to create something that may or may not be there, because the market is always right. Yes. So if the market's ready for what you're offering, then I think it's interesting.
Pioneers end up with arrows in their backs.
Yeah,
all the ones who are trying to.
Yeah, exactly right.